Good afternoon, everyone. It's 2 o'clock, so we will go ahead and get started with this session. Thank you for joining us. And this session is focused specifically on housing. We have Jenny Boyer, who's the Director of Residential Life, and Jenny is going to take a few moments to talk specifically about the housing transition process and outline many of the logistics. Hopefully you were able to join our earlier session today at noon with university leadership and learn a little bit more about the philosophy behind some of the decisions that we've made. I'll kick us off in case you weren't able to join during that time and talk just a few moments about how we came to this decision, and then I'll turn the mic over to Jenny so she can talk about the logistics. So once again, thanks for joining us. We all know this is an unprecedented time for us, and we are trying to do our part in the JU community to make sure that we're taking proactive and protective measures for not only our campus community, our students' well-being, but also from a global perspective. And once we decided to move online, we also made the decision that we wanted to make sure our students had the option of remaining on campus. That's really important for us and important for you as students and families to know that we're committed to providing a safe living and learning environment for our students. And in that regard, we elected to relocate our students to the south side of campus so we can focus our resources in an area where we can better serve our students. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jenny to talk a little bit about the timeline for move over, the timeline for departure and checkout if you're not staying, and then the logistics and what it might look like. Jenny?
Hi, thank you. Hello, everyone. First, I just want to echo some things that have already been said and were said at noon. We are just so incredibly sad to end this way with our students. We care so deeply about our students. We have really meaningful relationships with so many students that we love and care for. And this is just a hard time for everyone. And we recognize that and we feel that on our end as well. And at the same time, we also recognize that this is not the end. We are working with so many of you to think through your summer housing and your fall 2020 housing, including many of our incoming families. And we're still so excited to be able to serve you in that way and continue communication with you. So with all of that in mind, like Dr. Gover was saying, we did think through some ways to really continue serving our families while keeping our campus safe. And so in thinking through that, so many universities were really only able to offer a 48-hour window for some students to engage in some options. And we really looked to our experts and felt like we could provide a little bit more time than that. And so we created a 6-day space for our families to really choose to engage in one of two options. So the first is our express checkout. When I use the word express, that is not meant to convey the length of time. Again, you do have 6 days to engage in this process. That is more meant to convey the changes that we have made in that process. So usually when we are checking out students, that is a very hands-on thing that we do. We usually have a time slot for an individual student. We're meeting them in their room. We're looking over their space. We're exchanging their key, and we're telling them goodbye. And so because we cannot do that and we do want to practice social distancing, we have created this process. So we have checkout envelopes that are located at the desk of each hall. I actually have one of those envelopes right here. So students are able to pick up these envelopes at the desk of each of their residence halls at any time. So these are available 24 hours a day. I can see students right now engaging in this at the Village Apartments. And then we have a locked drop box where students can resubmit these envelopes. And again, this can be done at any time. So we're really avoiding any kind of lines for our student or any kind of even interaction back and forth. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the questions. So that's really our express checkout process. It's really easy. It is an envelope so that students can submit their keys back to us. However, we're asking students, even if you do not have your key, because we understand that some are not here, some are coming back rapidly, to still return this envelope to us so that we know you have checked out. And we are not going to be fining students for keys through this process. So that process is going through Monday at 5 p.m. That was Monday, March 23rd at 5 p.m. So the second option for families to engage in would be students who want to remain on campus. We are really proud that we're able to stay open and provide services for students that just can't get home, such as some of our international students and just other students in general, that it's not feasible for them to return home, or home is just not a great place for them. And so we are relocating those students to the south side of campus, and I can definitely talk a little bit more about what that looks like. And that is going to happen on Tuesday. Part of that is because we are turning over and deep cleaning spaces for these students. And so we're going to have everybody check out on Monday, and then the students that are staying and have filled out our form to stay will be relocated on Tuesday. So let's see, I'm going to try to address some questions. So some of the questions that we're getting are about students relocating and what does that look like and kind of some of the logistics behind that. So our hope is for students to fill out our form if they're remaining on campus. That did go out in an email. It also is on the JU Corona website. So if you are looking for that form, you can look for it there. We also hope to send it out again. So if you're a student that's going to stay, please fill that out. We also are looking to accommodate students who currently have ADA restrictions and making sure that we're keeping that in mind. We're going to email all of those students on Monday saying, hey, here's the plan. On Tuesday, those students are going to be relocated to Oak Hall. So Oak Hall is our largest facility by quite a bit, by about 150 beds, which translates to a lot of rooms. So they're going to move to Oak Hall, and they're going to be in single rooms, sharing a bathroom with one person at most. We may have students that don't even have to share a bathroom. A lot of that just depends on how many students we really have fill out that form to remain. At this time, we don't have very many students, but we also recognize that we have about 5 days left in this process, and everyone is trying to decide what to do. So again, that will be on Tuesday, moving to Oak Hall in a single space, sharing a bathroom with at most one person. And to touch on some of the reasons why for that, partly it's resources. So we don't want to have a couple of students spread out all across campus. We want to keep their safety in mind, and we want to be able to care for them still, even while practicing social distancing. So we're trying to allocate resources appropriately and kind of putting all of our students within our largest hall in still safe spaces. We're able to really check in on them and know that they're okay. There's also a dining option in Oak Hall, and so we really wanted to consider that in meeting their needs. Another reason would be for cleaning. So as you can imagine, again, we're still trying to prepare for what's going to come next, housing our students in summer and housing our students in fall. And so we will be deep cleaning this campus. And we want to have everybody kind of in one space so that we can deep clean our halls and really prepare to not just be safe now, but safe in the future. And then lastly, a reason would be, to create some isolation space. So in the event that we do need to isolate some students, we want to be able to really do that well.
Thank you, Jenny. And I'll take one of the questions on the chat. One of the questions is, what if students simply do not return to collect their belongings, are unable to collect their belongings? And I would say at this point, we're asking everyone to honor our request to check out by the end of the day, 5 p.m. on March 23rd. If you're unable to do that, please contact our office and we'll work with you directly to develop a plan. And as I mentioned earlier in our first session, this is a really great opportunity for the Jacksonville University community to come together. And I believe that we will do exactly that, as we have proven to do in the past. So if you have challenges that are financial, then we will wrap around you and support you and find a way to help store your belongings safely, or potentially get your belongings back to you. We'll work with you on an individual basis in that regard. The other question that popped up is about cleaning and the possible inability to clean. Jenny, do you want to talk just a little bit about our strategy in working with Aramark Facilities on making sure that the rooms are ready for the next occupant?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that also goes into kind of the way that we are shifting our focus. I think that probably this is coming from a lot of families that have experienced checking out at the end of the year before and everything that entails. And that's just not our priority right now. We want to help students get into a safe space. That's our priority. And so again, I think that goes into the fact that we're not charging for keys, we're not checking rooms for damages, and we're not checking rooms for cleaning. We hope that our students will leave their rooms in an appropriate way and in the best way that they are able, that they will take all of their belongings and not leave trash, and that they will leave their room as clean as possible. But we are not holding to the typical standards that we would in a normal checkout process. And I think that's why we're really trying to use the languaging around an express process, because we recognize that the main goal right now is to get out as quickly as possible and be in a safe space.
Thank you, Jenny. And hi, Amelia. I'm going to answer some of your questions here that you've posted about why students are being relocated from the apartments to the south side of campus. I think Jenny did a great job of answering that. It is really about resources, and we believe that Oak Hall will be a great space for us to house our students and give them the ability to space out, practice that social distancing, and take advantage of the other resources that are already available on that side of campus with dining. I would also like to mention that our dining hall will continue to be open, and if you've been on campus, you've noticed the significant shift in serving students that we've taken as a health and wellness approach. Starbucks will continue to be open. Chick-fil-A will have modified hours, which will be complemented by the opening of Waves at an earlier time. And the product that is in the pod in our convenience store will be available either in the dining hall or in Waves. So we're working to make sure that we have all those resources available to our students. The other question was about the transition from the Village Apartments to Oak Hall and the price differential. They actually are the same price. However, students who live in the Village Apartments probably have a lesser meal plan. And of course, we are not going to make students change their meal plans at this time. We are going to work with the individuals to make sure they have the meals that they need to dine on campus in whatever way they want to dine, whether that means that we're adding additional meal swipes to their plan or what have you. So we will not be shuffling any funding around from that perspective, either in a refund form or in charging students additional money for an upgrade to their meal plan. We're gonna take care of that on our end. And I'm going to try to look through here and see the other piece that I just want to be really frank about is that we are preparing our campus for the possibility and unlikely possibility, I would like to say, that we have a positive COVID-19 case on our campus. And that's one of the reasons why we want to move students over to the south side of campus, because we will use the north side of campus for that in the event that we have to move in that direction. Jenny, I am going to turn it over to you if you've had a chance to read some of the questions as well. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, so one of the things that I noticed, and I would say some of the responses that our team has gotten, is just some clarification on, can they come at any time this weekend? Can parents or families come? And I think a lot of this is because so many of our families are accustomed to the way that we have done checkout. And so I do want to just clarify again, yes, you can come any minute of any day between right now and Monday at 5. So that is, again, why we have developed this process, so that you can pick this up at any time and you can drop it back off at literally any time. I'm pretty sure some students did it at like the middle of the night last night, because we checked at the end of our day yesterday and first thing this morning, and we were flooded with a lot of these envelopes. So you can come at any time. A lot of students have experience typically at checkout, you're signing up for a checkout time, and it's just so involved, and we're not asking you to do any of that. We want this to be as easy as possible. And then again, yes, your parents, family members, even friends can come and engage in this process for you. We've asked that you as the student do email either housing or the coordinator for your building to say, hey, my family member or my friend is going to be doing checkout for me. And we are actually working with those people to let them into your space, to make sure that they get everything that they need, and then to actually turn in your envelope on your behalf. And so I really encourage families to think about that. That's not something that we would typically do, but I think it has been really, really helpful for this time.
Thank you, Jenny. Well, I saw a question come through about keys. The student has had Pack Pros pack up their room, and but they still have their keys. Are we asking that students mail those keys back to the Residential Life office if they have them at their home?
We are not. We're not fining for keys, and we're not asking students to do that. Again, I think partly to be respectful of the state of emergency that we're in and the social distancing that we're in. We once those keys have made it to where they have made it, that is okay. They can stay. We will take care of creating the keys that we need for those spaces.
Great, thank you. And Sheena asked which room they'll be assigned to when they move over to Oak. Have we made those determinations yet?
Yeah, so we have not. Again, we're really hoping to contact all of the students who have indicated that they're remaining on campus on Monday and work with those students. Depending on how many students we have, that's just going to factor a lot into where we can assign them. We're hoping they will be in a single room, and we're hoping they share a bathroom with at most one person, and some hopefully will not with anyone. We also, again, have to take into consideration students that are staying that have some accommodations or additional needs. And so we're really looking at that list as it comes in and trying to make some of those assignments, and we'll communicate with those students on Monday for what to do for Tuesday.
Great, thank you. Jenny, is there anything else that students should be doing that they're not? Are you seeing enough students fill out the housing form so you have a good indication of who's staying and who's going? Is there anything that our friends who have joined us today on this panel can help us with as far as collecting information from students?
Yeah, so from what we're seeing, I can kind of look out the windows, and I've been around to all the halls all day long. Students are really engaging in this. So we are watching students pick up envelopes, we're watching students drop them off, we're watching students pack their cars. I think that we're encouraging students and families to engage in social distancing as much as possible. I think one of the things that's challenging for us all is that this is a goodbye that we didn't foresee, and it's sad, but we're really asking students to just be careful about, even in the midst of that goodbye, it's not the time to gather with your 20 best friends and have a group hug, and just trying to remember the state that we're in right now and why we're doing some of these things. But I think for the most part, we're really seeing this system working well. Students are submitting the form if they're staying. Our team is working remotely, but we are actively answering every single voicemail and every single email. And so I think that we're really seeing this process work well on our end.
Thank you, Jenny. And Aretha asked, she said her son has a flight back on Wednesday and will be staying on campus. Will he be impacted with the Tuesday deadline? And I would just say, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you will contact Jenny's office directly so that we can coordinate working with you, that would be ideal. Obviously, we're trying to minimize the number of students who stay beyond that 23rd deadline because it has that domino effect. We need to get into the rooms that are vacated, clean those rooms properly and thoroughly so the new residents can move in. And so I would just ask you to outreach to them directly, Aretha. Thank you. Jenny, anything additional to add there?
No, I think that's correct. You can email housing@ju.edu and we can get to the appropriate person. I think I would reiterate something that Dr. Gober said in the beginning, which is, really are asking our community to help us in this effort and to engage in one of these processes by these dates. But we also do understand that, every family has a different need.
Thank you. I don't see any additional questions coming in, and I will look to Katie Jackson to see if we can wrap up the call today, and we will work to get scheduled again back online next week in case there are any additional questions. And I would also just say that we encourage you with any questions that you may have, you can outreach to your coordinator whose email you received, or you can outreach to the care team at ju.edu email address, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Perfect. I don't see anything either.
Okay, great. Thank you all for joining today.